Before you close out of this video, you should know that astrologers have been talking about this moment in time this week for decades. That there's a very special astrological configuration happening this week, and that is a Barbault's basket between Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius, and Jupiter in Leo, all at 4 degrees. This is major astrology. This is giving new motivation, new resurgence of ideas, sparks in action, and really, truly, the astrology at this moment. It's giving revolution, it's giving expansion of humanity. And when the outer planets move and shift and talk to each other, that conversation goes beyond what's happening in your own personal life and what's happening as a macrocosm of society at large. The Barbault's basket was coined by a French astrologer who accurately predicted COVID, among other major global events, with mundane astrology, which is the type of astrology that we utilize in this forecast. And in 1993, he said in his book called The Future of the World, the new world civilization, whose beginnings appeared around the year 2000, is taking off here in 2026. The entry of the second quarter of a century bears the stamp of the fulfillment of a new age of humanity. He goes on to say the central and harmonious position of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is above all expressive of a promotion of the lower layers of the world population, of a significant increase in the standard of living of the underprivileged, of a victory over the misery earned in unprecedented solidarity. And that Saturn-Neptune conjunction happened on February 20th at 0 degrees of Aries. So according to Barbault, that started this turn of the century, this turn of civilization, which is now being propelled more quickly with the Barbault's basket. And we'll get into what that actually means, what the astrology of that is. It's later on in the week, but you'll be feeling the energy building towards that this week. And there is a perspective floating around there that we might not feel this as intensely in the United States, even though there's a lot of buzz of it around here, just because when Barbault wrote about this alignment, he was really talking about deeply, deeply burdened populations. And I know it's a weird thing to put suffering on a hierarchy. How can you do that? How can you compare a suffering of one person to another person? How can you put, a pyramid up and say, this is the suffering that is actually suffering, and this is the suffering that isn't? I don't know. Nobody knows that. But there are people who are victims of war right now. There are people who are victims of genocide. There are people who are victims of